All right. Today we have our first day of our Chapter 4B practice test. In this first section, we are going to solve by square rooting. You guys are so awkward now. We're going to solve by square rooting. When we do this, ladies and gentlemen, we have to make sure we're at x squared equals a number. Okay, so that's our goal on all of these. And when we square root things, what should you always put in front of all your answers? Oh, there it is. Okay, plus minus. Okay. When we square root a negative, what should you have part of your answer? An I. Those are two spots that I have to take away easy half points on. Okay. So number one is probably the easiest problem I have on this page. What should I do first? I'm going to add the 81. And then we are going to square root, and x is going to equal plus or minus 9. Okay, do you guys see how that was our easiest problem today? Okay, everyone can handle one of those on Wednesday. All right, our next one a little bit more challenging. What should we do first? Subtract the 12. So now we have 3x squared equals negative 12. And then we're going to divide by 3. So now we're going to have x squared equals negative 4. Our last step, we're going to square root, and this time we're going to have x equals plus or minus 2i. Okay. Do we see the difference between these? Why we have an I and no I? Everyone's okay with that? Okay. All right, our last one is our most challenging one in this section. Step 1, we're going to minus 100. So now I have 5x squared equals negative 100. Divide by 5. So I'm going to have x squared equals negative 20. And our last step, square root. Now, as you can see, this one is different from our first two. Is 20 a perfect square? No, but is there a perfect square that goes into 20? Yeah, 4. So I'm going to split it between 4 and 5. Okay. And therefore, I'm going to write it up here. Our answer then is going to be x equals, oh, it turned red for some odd reason, plus or minus 2i square root of 5. Okay. On your test on Wednesday, you're going to have some easy ones, and then it's going to get trickier. Can we handle that? Questions on square rooting? Okay. Now, the rest of this page is about something we haven't talked about for a while, and if you don't know this one part, everything's going to be wrong. Okay. When we filled in this blank, or to complete our square, we had a little formula. Do you guys remember what that was? B over 2 squared. Thank you, sir. I need you guys to remember that. If you don't have that memorized, this test is going to be rough. Like this entire page is going to be rough, okay? Reminder, this answer always has to be positive because you're squaring it, which causes it to turn positive, okay? So I'm going to take my 12, I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. And when we do that, we're getting 36. Okay. Our next one, this time my b is negative 8, but even though it's negative, we're squaring it, so it will turn positive. So we're taking our negative 8 divided by 2 and squaring it, and when we do that, we're getting 16. Okay. On your test on Wednesday, can you fill in this blank? If you don't have this part memorized, obviously that will be rough. Okay. All right. In this next section, we are going to solve by completing the square. And so when we do that, our goal is to make our equation look like this. So we're trying to make it say x plus or minus, we don't know what sign it's going to be, b divided by 2 squared equals a number. So that's how we solve. We need it to look like that. Okay. My people that are distracted, you'll want to make sure you're paying attention to this problem because this one's worth a lot of points because we have a lot of steps. Okay. Step 1, do you guys see what's wrong with number 6? There's a negative. I'm annoyed with that. Yes. Jill? I'm sorry, Jill. I said your name, Jill. I'm sorry. You're what? Okay, so it equals 0. That's something that's wrong. What else? Yes. Our x squared is negative 2. Okay, so the first thing I always want you to look at, your x squared. Your x squared should never, ever, ever have anything on it ever. So to get rid of this negative 2, I need to divide by negative 2. And if I divide one thing by negative 2, I have to divide everything by negative 2. I'm going to tell you divide your 0 as well because it just reminds yourself to divide it like if you need to. All right, so now your x squared is now positive. Your 16 is now positive 8x, and your 22 is now negative 11 equals 0. So now we have to complete the square. So now we have to add 11. So I need a blank over there. So yeah, so this is where our 0, it shouldn't be a 0. I need us to not have a 0 over there. So now I have x squared plus 8x plus square or plus blank equals 11. Does this now look like the problem we did above? Yes. So again, to fill in this square, I'm going to take my b, divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. Okay. So what is going to go into our blank? 16. Okay. Now hold on. This is going to go 16. Where else does this need to go? On the other side. So it goes into your blank and into the other side as well. Okay, so now that we did all of that, we're ready to write this as our rule. Okay, so we're completing the square rule. So now I'm ready to write it like this. Okay, so inside there, reminder, we put whatever was here. So what is this going to turn into? 4. So inside here, I'm going to say x plus 4. So whatever's in the parentheses goes into these parentheses. Okay, and then what does the other side equal now? What does this equal? 27. All right. Now we're ready to solve. That was just so we could solve. How do we solve? It's kind of like what we did above. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so to get rid of our square, we're going to square root each side. Okay. Can we square root 27? No, we got to split this between 9 and 3. Okay. So we have x plus 4 equals positive negative 3 square roots of 3. We're almost there. Our last step is I have to subtract the 4. When we subtract the 4, reminder to write it properly, we chill it out in front. So I'm going to say x equals negative 4 plus or minus 3 square roots of 3. Okay. Do we see there's lots of places to make silly mistakes? If you didn't divide by negative 2 at the very beginning, would everything be wrong? Yes. Okay. Questions at all on this? Okay. I want us to notice these both are having us do completing the square. This one we are solving. This one we are writing an equation. So we're putting this into vertex form. They both have similar steps. This one, though, if we remember, I don't make you take it as far. Okay. Is everybody okay for me to scroll up? Everyone's okay? All right. So when we do this one, when we're writing it in vertex form, this is our goal here, to make it look like this. Okay. So another thing I kind of need you to have memorized. Okay. Luckily, a lot of the same steps as above, but less work at the end. Okay. X squared, is it ready to go? Yeah, there's nothing on our x squared, so it's ready to go. So now, what is my first step? Subtract the 3. We need to have a blank on that other side. So I'm going to subtract 3. So now I have y minus 3 equals x squared minus 10x plus our square or our blank. How do we fill in blank? Okay, so negative 10 divided by 2 squared. Positive 25, positive 25. Yep. So it's always going to be positive, and if I put 25 here, gotta do it to the other side. Okay. Now that we completed the square, we're ready to start writing it into this form. This right here, what's chilling with this y? 22, so I'm going to say y plus 22. And on this side, what are we going to have here? X minus 5. Whatever's in here goes in here. Parentheses to parentheses. Okay. We're almost done. What's my last step? You both are okay with that? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to subtract the 22. Subtract the 22. Okay. My board is so slow when I record. All right, so now we're going to have y equals x minus 5 squared minus 22. Are we now in vertex form? Could we state the vertex if we needed to? Okay. All right. Do we see the difference between those last two problems where one of them says solve and one of them says write a function? Okay. All right. We have one more problem and then I'm going to stop talking. Are you guys ready? Okay. All right. Our last one I think is our easiest one besides number 1. We're going to solve this using the quadratic formula. So what should you probably write to yourself right away? The quadratic formula. Yep. If you need to sing, feel free. All right, so another thing you need to know for this test, a lot of little things you need to know. Hence why some of us need to, oh, I don't think I can stand that far away. You guys need to start studying. All right, versus our last few problems, when I'm using the quadratic formula, what is wrong with my equation right now? Doesn't equal 0. Okay, so it has to equal 0. So all of our problems versus all the ones we've done so far, it has to equal 0. So on this one, we have to subtract the 2. Okay, so now I'm going to have 3x squared plus 4x minus 2 equals 0. Okay, and now we're just plugging it into our formula. Grading your guys' homework well, a week and a half ago, make sure you double check your signs. That's why some of you got things wrong. So we should have a negative 4 out in front instead of a positive 4, so watch out for that. And then we'll have 4 squared inside here. So really double check your signs. When you plug this into your calculator, do you plug the whole thing in? You just do the square root. Should you square root it in your calculator? No, you're just finding out what's inside there. Do you guys remember what that was called? The discriminant. Yeah, so right now you're just finding me the discriminant, what's inside there. I'm hearing 40. Is everybody okay? Okay, 40, okay. Leave it, circle it up. I can break it down. Okay, so 40, I can split this between 4 and 10, okay. So now I'm going to have negative 4 plus or minus 2 square roots of 10 all over 6. Leave it? No. So we have seen this several times, so I'm hoping you guys notice there's a pattern. What do we notice about these three numbers? They're all divisible by 2. So reminder, we can only apply this rule if it's All three of them. If it was just these two, I can't apply it. If it was just these two, can't apply it. Notice, are we ever talking about the square root? No, leave the square root alone. Okay, so we're dividing all of these by 2. Okay, and so the -4 is going to become -2. The 2 is going to become 1. Do I need that 1? No. And then I have the square root of 10 and 3. Okay, I want everyone to see this right now. This 1 I did not need, correct? Okay, I'm just going to write it just so we can talk about it. This one I did not need. What if there was a 1 out front? Would I need that 1 then? You'd still need it. So if there was a 1 here, I need it. If there's a 1 here, I don't need it. Does that make sense? Well, is this very different from this? Is that very different? Does that mean 2 different things? Yeah. Okay. So this one, I need a 1 here if there's just a 1 here. Okay. All right. Bless you. Anything else? Any other questions?